Suddenly they'll appreciate how good the city.
I have 5:44.
Call to order the City of Dunkirk Common Council meeting for January 15th, 2019 at 5:30 PM. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams?
Here.
Councilmember Bamanto?
Here.
Councilmember Heenan?
Here.
Councilmember Civiletto?
Here.
Councilmember at-large Washington.
Present. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Fiscal Officer Marcia Beach and Mayor Rosas will be absent this evening. Clerk, certification of the prior meetings.
This is to certify that an official copy of the minutes of the Common Council meeting of Thursday, January 3rd, 2019 was presented to the mayor on Friday, January 11th, 2019. Pursuant to Section 3.03 of the Dunkirk City Charter, all items presented to the mayor are now in full force and effect. In witness whereof, I have here to set my hand and seal of the City of Dunkirk, New York, this 15th day of January 2019.
I need a motion dispensing with the reading of the minutes.
So move.
Councilman Williams with the first. Councilmember Bamanto with the second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto?
Aye.
Councilmember Heenan?
Aye.
Councilmember Civiletto?
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Washington.
Aye. Reading of the privilege of the floor regulations.
The privilege of the floor shall be extended to any person appearing for themselves, in which case the individual shall be limited to 3 minutes, and to any person representing a group who shall be limited to 5 minutes. When recognized, please stand and state your name and address. The city clerk shall have the duty of maintaining such time limits, and the councilman at large may determine in his discretion whether individuals are speaking for themselves or representing groups. Councilman at large Washington shall maintain good order and may require any speaker to cease speaking if remarks are made in bad taste or are slanderous or non-germane to any action taken or contemplated by council. The time limits shall be strictly adhered to, except that the speaker may be allowed to complete a statement or thought started before such time has expired.
With that said, privilege of the floor is now open. If anybody wishes to speak, please step forward to the podium and state your name and address.
Jim Fisher with Revitalize Dunkirk. Just want to get the word out there that we have a meeting this Thursday, January 17th at 6:30 p.m. down at the Fredonia Technology Incubator. And our guest speaker will be E.J. Hayes, the Deputy Director of Development with the city. So he's going to give us the lowdown on the Winter Festival that's coming up on February 19th, which Revitalize Dunkirk will be assisting with the city at the Hospitality Pavilion, or the Clarion Pavilion, outdoor pavilion, handing out hot chocolate and stuff like that, I guess. We'd also, Revitalize Dunkirk would also like to thank the city for working on the fabrication of the 15 brackets for the 15 new hanging baskets to be located on Lower Central Avenue this summer. And we also, Revitalize Dunkirk also has a TV show on Local Access 1301. You can check us out either on 1301 or on YouTube. And you can also check us out at revitalizedunkirk.com or on Facebook. And thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Anybody else wishing to take advantage of the privilege of the floor, please step forward and state your name and address.
Hi, my name is Jen Delgado. I live at 321 Robin Street, Dunkirk, New York. I'm here today as a concerned citizen in the area. The first week of this year, I actually lost 2 friends in this opioid epidemic that we're dealing with. And the lack of services in Chautauqua County as a whole, not just Dunkirk, seems to be helping to contribute to it. No fault of any per se said person. My only concern is that my friends, and they're my friends, I don't care what they do, they all have different walks of life, everyone makes mistakes. But they shouldn't have to die for them. And the theory that fentanyl is not out there like that due to the amount of money it costs, it's studied that fentanyl is cheaper than heroin. My friends that are going to the methadone clinics in Buffalo are not even testing positive for heroin anymore. It's straight fentanyl. With the friends that I'm dealing with in the streets that I'm trying to help save, there's fentanyl in our coke streams. There's people remaking Xannies and cutting them with fannies with fentanyl with Xanny presses in our area because they have Xanny bar presses. It's in our meth, and they've actually fully replaced heroin to the point where they're giving people straight up fentanyl. The points of entry that have been mainly to the United States through the black market, through China, have come in Florida, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, which also gives me concern because most of our drug trafficking to the area seem to come from those same 3 points. As China seems to stop the patents on certain fentanyls, the fentanyls have been changed. The problem with fentanyl is A, they don't test for it because the test for fentanyl is more expensive than the test for heroin. So these people that are dying in our area, a lot of them don't even know they're on fentanyl. They're going to methadone clinics thinking that they're having a heroin problem to find out that they're not even taking heroin anymore. So my concern is going forward, the whole country, not just Dunkirk, has to think of a way to try to stop some of this. I don't know what we can do in the streets of Dunkirk ourselves, but I lost 2 people in less than 5 days. And it's not getting any better. And they're shooting straight up fentanyl right now. And when fentanyl first came around, everyone said, oh, it's too expensive, nobody's gonna buy it. It's cheaper than heroin because they're buying it off the internet. You can Google where to buy fentanyl and you can get it. And it's out of control. And I don't know what to do because Chautauqua County really has a lack of services. So
Chairman, we're at our time.
legally have to leave town. I don't know. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jeanette. Anybody else wishing to take advantage of privilege of the floor, please step forward to the podium and state your name and address. Last opportunity. Anybody wishing to take advantage of privilege of the floor, please step forward to the podium and state your name and address. Privilege of the floor is now closed. Since the mayor is absent, we will skip over communications from the mayor and go right to communications from the public.
Chairman, if I could just briefly, the mayor wanted me to pass on that he was attending the State of the State and is doing some lobbying and advocating for Dunkirk in Albany. We'll be returning tomorrow.
Gotcha. Thank you, Richard. Communications from the public and petitions. Number 1.
A request from Dunkirk Senior High School to have 3 police officers be present at their homecoming dance on Saturday, February 9th, 2019, from 7:45 till 11:15 p.m. We have a date change.
There will be an amendment to this request, changing the February 9th to March 2nd. I would need a first for the amendment. Councilman Bamanto for the first. Second. Councilman Williams for the amendment. I need a roll call on the amendment.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto.
Aye.
Councilmember Heenan. Councilmember Civiletto.
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Washington.
Aye. We'll now be voting on the request as amended.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto.
Aye.
Councilmember Heenan. Councilmember Civiletto.
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Washington.
Aye.
Number 2, loudspeaker application from the Clarion Hotel to have outside music and/or live bands from May 25th through October 31st, 2019.
Any discussion? I need a motion to refer to the appropriate departments as well as approve, subject to appropriate insurances and usual conditions.
So move.
Councilman Williams. Councilman Bamanto with the second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto.
Aye.
Councilmember Heenan. Councilmember Civiletto.
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Washington.
Aye.
Notice of claim from Sarah Kalfas for water damage to her basement flooring and rugs allegedly caused by storm drains where clogged and backed up into the basement.
Any discussion, council? I need a motion to refer this to the law department.
So move.
Councilman Williams with the first.
Second.
Councilman Civiletto with the second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto.
Aye.
Councilmember Heenan. Councilmember Civiletto.
Aye.
Councilmember Elijah Washam.
Aye. Reports of standing committees, boards, and commissions. Councilman Williams?
Next DPW committee meeting will be next Wednesday, the 23rd, at 4 o'clock in the mayor's conference room. Couple other things, Randy, those couple lights that I had mentioned, 2nd and Roberts and Willowbrook and Central, has anything been done yet with changing it from like timing to a sensor?
Yes, the city electrician had a good discussion with me today on the investigations he's been doing. The chief of police and his patrol have also investigated those. It's a conclusion of the master electrician that the problems are in some way intermittent, but they're real. So we're going to figure out how to reprogram those and to make sure all the connections are good during all weather conditions. So it's a complicated problem. I'd like to thank Mike Probation and the Chief of Police, David Ortolano, for looking into that. And it'll take us a while to get it solved, but we will solve the problem.
Do you have any time frame? Because I've been bringing the 2nd and Roberts one up since June. And we fixed the piece, but we still got to get it timed. I know today I was driving through there during work. Nobody was on 2nd, nobody was on the other side of Roberts, and it filtered through or cycled through, and nobody was around. And just wondering, I know that's probably one that I get a lot of calls about, is that one, when they gonna get it. So just asking if there's a time frame on it at all.
I'll talk to the electrician tomorrow and the mayor. I got a request for some other work to be done. I'll see, I made a promise to get that done. I will see if I can revoke that promise and put that one ahead of it.
Okay, thank you. Also, I was told today that there are some potholes on Sisson and Zebra. They were described as like a double pothole, clunk to dunk, she told me, is when she drives over it. So we can fill that in. That's Sisson and Zebra. Also, I had a call about the tree by the post office. I don't know at this time of year if we can tell if it's dead, but if you know what's going on with that tree. The person that called said that they looked at it before and they thought that it was dying, so they wondered if there was anything that we should be doing with it. So if we could keep an eye on that tree.
Sure, that tree and a few others. We've got 3 trees at Hose 3 I want to get done in the wintertime that have to be contracted out. They're bigger than our crews can take. Our crews did a great job with the 4th Ward trees. We still got 1 or 2 there, but I think that everybody who's requesting trees in the 4th Ward, that we hit the most dangerous trees, and our guys did a great job.
Okay.
The one on Central Avenue you talk about is on the list to be contracted out. It's a huge tree.
Okay.
And it's got to come down.
Okay, thank you. And lastly, who does the building? Because I noticed the last few meetings that clock is way off. If we can, it's about 5 minutes off. If we can have them set the clocks to the right time. We have everybody coming in for 5:30, but we're all sitting and waiting until that clock says 5:30. So if we could just check that, please. Thank you.
Absolutely.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Williams. Councilman Belmonto?
Thanks. Randy, that light on Willowbrook is working, and so is the light on Howard. They're working correctly now.
I agree, Councilman, but occasionally they don't work
Yeah,
correctly.
and I usually let you know.
Yeah, thanks.
Can you give me an update on the lighting situation up at the rec center?
Yes. Thank you, Councilman, for talking to me over the weekend on that. We got 3 lights in the rec center that also have an intermittent problem. When the mayor gets back, I'm going to recommend the city electrician talk to me about those. He has a plan to change those from the halogen light to a LED light, and because the halogens have just become unreliable at this point. And he'd like to just eventually replace all 20-some, but at least these 3 that are acting up, he'd like to replace those right away. So he's got a price. I want to run that by the mayor when he gets back, get that done right away.
Okay, thank you. Can you also give us an update on what has happened at the rec center? So I see some different stuff up there, and it looks really nice up there.
Yeah, it's a whole new ballgame, pardon the pun. It's beautiful there, and it's, probably not where we want to be long-term, but it was the child of Bob Patterson, and it's grown into a great place, and I think that EJ and Ryan and yourself do a great job of keeping that up, and the mayor's vision to repaint it all, and the impact team redid all of the front lobby part, so the suspended ceiling wasn't all over the place. It looks a lot better, and we've gotten lots of positive comments on it. And I'd like to thank the fairgrounds for letting us use it. So it's a good partnership with the community. It's well used. Still a few things to fix up, but overall, I think I'd like to invite everybody to go take a look at the improvements that have been done this year. It's really shining.
All right, thank you. Rebecca, can you give us an update on Winterfest?
Yeah, sure. This year we're hosting a new event called Winterfest. It's going to be February 9th from 10 to 4 p.m. At the City of Dunkirk lakefront lot in the Clarion Hotel Outdoor Pavilion. And activities include cold water fishing tournament at Dunkirk Harbor. There's going to be a $20 tournament fee and cash prizes. There's 2 fishing categories and up to $1,000 for winners. There's going to be an adult volleyball co-ed tournament, a 3 versus 3 youth street hockey tournament, cornhole and bocce ball tournament, and refreshment and kids activities located inside the Clarion Hotel's outdoor pavilion, where it'll be a heated area in there. And then we'll be doing a post-Winterfest gathering from 4 to 7 at the Fillmore Tavern. And I want to thank all of our sponsors, Race World Offshore, the Clarion, Holiday Harbor, Tim Hortons, and Spike's Dailies for making this happen, because without them, we couldn't do this. Obviously, we have great festivals in the summer, but we want to celebrate the winter time as well, so that's why we're bringing this new festival to the city, and we hope everyone can join us and participate.
Thank you. Sounds exciting. And one more thing I'd like to touch on, the mayor being in Albany again. He's there networking. He's at the State of the State, Governor's State of the State, networking for the city of Dunkirk. So appreciate him being there. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Belmonto. Councilman Heenan?
Randy, I'm just curious if you could follow up on the finished project that is on Seal Street and Seal Acres. I know it hasn't been repaired yet. There's probably 3 sections of pipe, maybe 8 to 12 feet long, that are solid. I believe they're far enough away from the road that if there's a snowfall and a plow comes through there, they're probably fine. But maybe if you could just follow up on that and see what they might be, clean that up.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Heenan. Councilman Civiletto?
Yeah, just, I wanted to comment on what Jeanette talked about. I also went to a funeral, one of the same funerals that she went to this week. And it was heartbreaking, and it was maddening, and it was painful. And I personally feel at this point, if I could rescind my my support for what we said earlier about finding a new spot for that methadone clinic, I would. I sat there in that funeral with a lot of guilt in my heart for that not being there for not only that one person, but for a whole bunch of people. That person that died in my ward, a street away from me, and I knew his family. I grew up with his family, and it was really rough. So all I can do is I'm going to tell you that I'm going to work my hardest, whether it's going to the county, whether it's talking to Albany, whatever it is. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that we get something here. That's it.
Thank you, Councilman Civiletto. All I have is this Thursday, the 17th at 4 p.m. We have a Finance Committee meeting in the Mayor's Conference Room. We have no unfinished business, so we move right along to pre-filed resolutions.
Number 6, resolution for authorization of a lease agreement for an office copier in the city clerk's office.
Any discussion, council? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto?
Aye.
Councilmember Heenan?
Aye.
Councilmember Civiletto?
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Washington.
Aye.
Number 7, resolution authorizing city deeds for Chautauqua County Rural Ministries.
Any discussion, council? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto?
Aye.
Councilmember Heenan?
Aye.
Councilmember Civiletto?
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Washington.
Aye.
Number 8, resolution authorizing mayor to execute amended license agreement for operation of Wright Park Refreshment Stand.
Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto?
Aye.
Councilmember Heenan?
Aye.
Councilmember Civiletto?
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Washington.
Aye.
Number 9, resolution authorizing the agreement for joint pre-hospital services between the County of Chautauqua and the City of Dunkirk.
Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto?
Aye.
Councilmember Heenan?
Aye.
Councilmember Civiletto?
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Washington.
Aye. Any new business before us? Walk-ins? Nothing? Motion to adjourn?
So move.
Councilman Williams with the first, Councilman Bamanto with the second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto?
Aye.
Councilmember Heenan?
Aye.
Councilmember Civiletto?
Aye.
Councilmember at-large Washington.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.